Welcome back to the channel, people. In this lesson we're going to be looking at colour theory. So a bit of an extension from one of our previous lessons where we looked at the colour wheel. Today we're going to be looking at colour theory and what it actually means to understand colour a little bit beyond the colour wheel. Okay, so lesson 14, colour theory / mixing. So what is colour theory? What does it mean? I mean, if we type it into Google, what does it say there? This is the AI overview of colour theory. In art, it is the practice of combining colours based on the colour wheel. It's a vital skill for artists, designers and marketers. So why then is the colour wheel important? Well, if you think of a couple of things, like what makes somebody feel a certain way, how do you portray certain moods, how do you portray certain comparisons, how do you create a bright contrasting piece. So if we look at the colour wheel a little bit, let's just get an image of the colour wheel here. I'm just going to zoom in there a little bit. So we've got a colour wheel on the screen, people. Okay, let's reject them cookies because they're not real cookies, so we don't accept fake cookies. So we've got the colour wheel here. We've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Okay, of course the colour wheel could be much vaster than this and it could be simpler than this. We could simply have blue, red, orange, yellow, green. Equally we could have a whole array of colours in between these, all different sort of shades. But what do we have when we're looking at the colour wheel? So we've got colours which are next to each other. Okay, we've got shades of colour. So if we're looking at these blue, violet to green, they're all very similar shades. So if they were all on the same painting, you might have a cool looking image. Whereas if you had a painting which consisted of the colours of yellow to red or red to yellow orange, then your painting may perhaps give a warm vibe. Okay, we have blue violet here, and the opposite is yellow orange. We have red at the top and the opposite is green, and we've got yellow here and the opposite is violet. So what are these? So these are basically contrasting colours and they are located directly opposite. So you can call them contrasting colours, contrasting or complementary. Okay, when mixed together, you can mute or disarray the strength of the colours, okay, making it more of a brownie, blacky or grey. If you use red and green, for example, with each other on the same piece, it can cause too much strain and competition and will force people to look away from the piece. With contrasting colours, as I mentioned before, one colour in the combination will always be warm and the other cool. This is because when we look at the colour wheel and split it in half from violet to yellow, and in between are cool colours on the colour wheel. I'm just reading from a little bit of an article here as it relates to contrasting colours. Now you'd want to look at the colour wheel just to get a good grasp of basic colour theory and colour relationships. Of course we've got the three primary colours, the red, blue and the yellow, and then we've got the secondary colours which is orange, green and violet, and then the tertiary colours which can be formed by mixing primary colour with a secondary colour. Okay, and this is where we get all the different sort of shades of yellowy oranges, reddy violets and so on and so forth. Okay, and I would say by and large, the main reason why colour matters is just because you want to be able to create an image which is as either visually striking as possible or visually aesthetic as possible, and you want to basically maximise your artwork's ability to portray the message behind it. Of course, if you're a pencil drawing artist, then colour's not really going to play a role in your artwork because you're just sticking to pencil drawings. You know, typical graphite pencil drawings are grey, shades of grey, black and white. But as it relates to black and white, those are basically opposing colours as well. So we can include those on some type of colour wheel in and of itself. So if we're looking on Google at colour theory, what else does it say? What other information can I give you? let me have a quick scout here. I think we've touched about pretty much everything we want to touch. We've delved into colour theory a little bit deeper than what we did in the colour wheel lesson. Again, let's just reinforce what we mean by colour theory. It's the use of colours to portray a particular mood or to portray a particular sort of harmony within a certain image. And now, colour theory is very important because it gives you the ability to work out your own colours. For example, if you've got a picture and it's got a particular shade of turquoise, you're gonna understand how to create that colour from mixing your own palette up. So that's one of the important lessons for understanding colour theory and how colour works. And also, like I've said before, we want to be able to portray an image which is either warm or cold or perhaps a little bit of both. And it's invaluable being able to basically colour match as well, as I was discussing earlier. So guys, I think that's going to be pretty much it for lesson 14, colour theory. It was just delving a little deeper than before into the world of colour. In lesson 15, in the next lesson, we're going to be looking at drawing with purpose. So we're going to be getting the blackboard back out. We're going to be getting, we might even revisit the shoe from an earlier lesson. We'll be looking at drawing with purpose, and we're going to be highlighting what it basically takes to go from drawing stickmen to drawing something a little bit better. If you want to submit your artworks to me at jakeoneilltheartist@gmail.com, that would be fantastic. I'll be more than happy to give you some feedback or review on those works. Otherwise, guys, the lesson for today is to simply write a little bit about the colour theory, create another colour wheel, write two contrasting colours, which are your favourite contrasting colours, and then that's it. Okay, if you want to take it further, you can create a piece of artwork based on your two contrasting colours from the colour wheel. Other than that, guys, again, that's going to be enough for lesson 14. Lesson 15, drawing with purpose.